All right, after 2035, no more gas cars going to be sold in California because we're all going to go to electric cars or space cars, something ridiculous. But in the meantime, would you guys in California, would you mind not charging your electric vehicles? Got a little issue with the power grid. We might run out over the long weekend coming up. Would you mind just, don't charge that bad boy. That's exactly what we're talking about right here on News for Reasonable People. Let's jump on in. Californians may need to take measures to conserve energy. May? You know it's coming. It's going to be hot. It's going to be coming hot in the next few weeks. Turn that AC up. I've even been running my AC here in Seattle, Washington, if that tells you something. It's been hot. Yesterday afternoon, I came home kind of early. I think I was home by 4:30 or something. And I thought, you know what? It's pretty cool outside. I'll just open up all my windows, let the breeze come in. It got up to 90 degrees in my house. My cool management. And then I turned the AC unit on and a lot to work out. Californians may need to take measures to conserve energy, including avoiding charging electric vehicles. And that is to prevent strain to the state's power grid over the Labor Day weekend, officials said. This is a week after state regulators voted on a plan to ban the sale of gasoline-powered cars. They said, we don't have enough energy, but we're not going to let you run with the fossil fuel cars. We're going to go to something that consumes even more energy. Yeah, that seems like a genius plan, doesn't it? This kind of stuff drives me crazy. The new policy, approved by the California Air Resources Board, do we really need that? Is that like a board or a group? It will require all new cars sold in California to be free of greenhouse gas emissions by 2035 as part of an effort to fight climate change. You know, all that stuff that was in the most recent legislature, the Build Back Better 20.0 by Biden that he got through just because he needed to get something through somewhere. I read that the impact that all the emission stuff was going to have was like just a fraction of 1 degree that it was going to have an impact on the climate in general. And it was a worst case scenario, it was a tiny, tiny fraction that all this legislature and all this stuff that you're going to put into law would have an impact on the climate and the climate change. Best case scenario, it still has a fraction of 1% impact on the Earth's temperature. So what are we even doing? What's the deal? Why are we even doing this? But with the heat wave forecast for the coming days, California's grid operator on Tuesday warned that the excessive heat would stress the energy grid and conservation may be needed over the holiday weekend to avert power outages. Flat out don't have enough energy, right? Don't have enough power. But never mind, run out and get yourself a little electric car. Get yourself a Chevy Volt. Get yourself a Toyota Prius. Get yourself whatever, right? The California Independent System Operator said it had issued an order restricting maintenance operations from August 31st, that's today, through September 6th to ensure that all generators and transmission lines are in service because they know there's going to be a massive suck on the power grid and all those electric cars. Yeah, they suck up power too. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my part here in the Pacific Northwest and just literally drive my gas cars around. Sucks up less energy, right? I get it. When it gets hot out and everybody runs their ACs and then, okay, you don't have enough energy. But then this whole thing to banning gas cars, banning things that rely on fossil fuels. During a flex alert, consumers are urged to reduce energy use from 4 to 9 p.m. when the system is most stressed. It's hottest in the afternoon, right? Because demand for electricity remains high and there's less solar energy available, the release said. The top conservation actions are to set thermostats to 78 degrees or higher to reduce air conditioner use, avoid using large appliances and charging electric vehicles, and turn off unnecessary lights, it said. Okay, all right, so we got 78 degrees or higher on the AC. Yeah, that means it's pretty warm, right? Avoid using large appliances? Like what? What are we talking about? Just something that really sucks up the power? And charging electric vehicle. Okay, sorry for all of you who have electric cars. You can't go anywhere because we got the situation with the AC units and it's damn hot outside. So you guys stay home. But we know that we said we're not doing the whole gas car thing anymore, but you guys stay home. Don't charge those. Lowering electricity use during that time will ease strain on the system and prevent more drastic measures, including rotating power outages. We all know this is going on. Just simply don't have enough power. And yet we're on this pathway to getting rid of fossil fuel cars. I mean, it doesn't seem all that well planned out, does it? I mean, the fact that I can read this story on this podcast, it just kind of tells you how ridiculous this all is. We're so concerned about the environment and nothing we really do is going to have a huge impact, but we're going to sure feel good about ourselves. Did you reduce that temperature of the earth down by that tiny little fraction? I did. I helped. Yeah, not really my gig, right? Yeah, I don't think it's yours either. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Some on social media pointed out that conflicting messages were being sent to Californians. Really? Part of the reason I'm reading this, is here in the state of Washington, whatever happens in California, we just copy. Let's be honest. We just copy. Oh, you guys aren't going to sell gas cars past 22? Oh, we aren't either. Yeah, we aren't either. We want to be in the cool kids club. That's literally what Washington does. Washington has my state has zero originality. We literally look down the coast. Okay, Oregon. Yeah, you guys are a train wreck. What's going on down in California? Oh, no gas cars. Okay. Oh yeah. No gas cars here too. No. We want to be part of the cool kids club. California recently ruled to ban gas-powered cars by 2035, but just to put out a warning to avoid charging electric vehicles due to power grid issues and blackouts. Yeah. Right? And this was the Hodge twins, the conservative comedians Keith and Kevin Hodge. I missed that the first time I read this article. It's so true. I love watching those guys, the conservative twins. Those guys go in hard. And they get away with it. Well, because they're not white, right? I love those guys. I followed them when they were doing the bodybuilding thing, and then they became the conservative twins, and then he just blew up. They're pretty well known. They're funny, too. They're funny guys. Some of their stuff, you're like, I can't believe you actually said that. But they do, and they get away with it. Robbie Starbuck. That's a name right there, isn't it? Robbie Starbuck. The former Republican congressional candidate in Tennessee wrote, "This comes days after California became the first state to ban gas cars by 2035, which means massive pain for the grid there when everybody is forced to drive only electric cars. Toddlers could run a state more competently than Democrats." That's funny. It's so true. Are we just going to get a handle on the power grid between now and 13 years from now? I feel like it's just getting worse, right? I feel like there's more suck on the power grid, especially in areas that are becoming warmer and warmer, like California. My whole thing on the whole climate deal is I think the earth kind of does its own thing. It gets hotter, it gets colder, but over enormous lengths of time, thousands of years. And we just happen to be in a cycle right now where things are going up. That's my whole take on this. It's not based on any data or any science, but I do watch a lot of UFO videos. And, I think knowing that there are so many different universes out there and knowing how old the Earth is, I just kind of feel like this whole, we're freaking out. We're killing the Earth. I think a lot of it's just a bunch of reactionary nonsense. I really do. California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom hailed the new rule requiring all car sales to be zero-emission vehicles by 2035 as a groundbreaking effort to tackle the climate crisis. It is groundbreaking. Whether it's an effort to tackle the climate crisis or not, that remains to be seen. What do you want to bet, like 10 years down the road, we look back at all this climate crisis crap and we go, yeah, that was another made-up thing by the Democrats. Yeah, we just realized that it's just not that big of a deal, and here we are. What do you want to bet we have that conversation? Maybe I'm just completely missing all of this drama, and I'm not embracing the climate crisis. But man, I can't even stand to say climate pledge arena because it's so ridiculous. We have a pledge to the climate, and we've got an arena, and so we're just going to buy the brand naming, and we're just going to call it climate pledge arena. No, but we can just say it over and over and over and feel good about ourselves. It used to be Key Arena, right? It used to be the Seattle Coliseum back in the days when we had the Sonics. Now we don't have the Sonics, and it's called Climate Pledge Arena. I know. It's so painful. Why do I continue living here? That's a question, right? We can solve this climate crisis if we focus on the big, bold steps necessary to cut pollution, he said in a statement on August 25th. Yeah, but you're putting ever more pressure on the existing power grid, which you're saying here in 2022, we can't take the extra added pressure of a hot weekend, a hot, long 3-day weekend. How are you going to add all those extra cars? Have you looked at from like an overpass and walked over an overpass and looked at how many cars are clearly not gas-powered cars? People aren't going to be able to afford like a $60,000 electric vehicle. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that are going to be driving these gas-powered cars for a long time. So this whole thing, I'm just like, really? This is what we're doing. This is what you're telling us you're doing. This plan's yearly targets 35% zero-emission vehicle sales by 2026, 68% by 2030, and 100% by 2035. It'll provide our roadmap to reducing dangerous carbon emissions and moving away from fossil fuels. That's 915 million oil barrels worth of emissions that won't pollute our communities. Yeah, but now you got to make those batteries. How many fossil fuel products does it take to create the electric car vehicle? Don't ask complex questions that you don't want to know the answer to, right? Yeah. Newsom said that the $10 billion the state was investing in making the transition would make it easier and cheaper for all Californians to purchase electric cars. Yeah. $10 billion. California spends money just like there is no tomorrow. So California, just coming up with these new plans, and then my stupid state just basically, we'll do what they're doing. And here we are, this is the plan, guys. We're all going with it. We're going to save the planet. By a tiny little percentage of 1 degree, but we're doing our part and we're feeling good. And we're virtue signaling to everybody, only gas cars. Gas cars won't be sold after 2035. We're really cutting things down here. It's going to be all great. I love Trader Joe's. But I got a salad the other day and the person asked me, hey, do you want a fork? And I said, yes, I would love a fork, because I ran out of all the plastic forks here at the office. I had one of my guys order off of Amazon, or was I supposed to bring some off the boat? I can't remember. We've got a bunch of plastic forks around somewhere, but we ran out of them. And so I said yes to the young man at Trader Joe's, and he gave me a fork. It was a wooden fork. It's like a flat wooden fork. And I thought, that is the most ridiculous thing of all time. But maybe I can throw it in the compost bin. I don't have to feel guilty about throwing it in the garbage and that fork being in there for the next 10,000 years, which is, 9,925 more than I'm going to be around for, right? Yeah. So that's part of the thing that we want to leave the earth for future generations. I am just not convinced that a lot of this stuff is really having the impact that they tell us it is. Because if it did, and we're going down these avenues, and I understand how much, fossil fuel it takes to create these batteries and create all this other stuff, this infrastructure to these electric cars. And then we don't have enough places to, dispose of the batteries and just all of these logistical things. But it's like we're run by a bunch of teenagers, prepubescent teenagers that don't really understand the impact of their actions. And they just, okay, we understand that we're having issues with the power grid, but no more gas cars. It just, the whole logic there, it doesn't seem like there is any. It doesn't seem like there is any. And any of this stuff, I'm not getting an electric car. It's dumb. I mean, to me right now, it just seems silly. I don't know. Hey, maybe if gas were a little cheaper, this wouldn't be quite so painful, right? But I believe that whole issue has been engineered to push people towards getting their damn electric cars. My kid has an electric car, but it's a Tesla Roadster. It's one of the original models, and it's cool. It is just a rocket. I mean, the acceleration on that bad boy is just, and my kid has done that to me in the car. And you're so packed in this little car that, you're like shoulder to shoulder, leg to leg, and he takes off and just, but that whole electric acceleration thing, because it doesn't have that gas, the lag of the combustion, right? It's just boom, gone. I do enjoy that part. But the whole rest of this virtue signaling over, I'm going to drive an electric car and I'm going to grow all my plants in my backyard, which I've been doing lately. But only because I want to see if I can grow stuff. And the answer is kinda. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work growing your own food. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a very good gardener or whatever, but I'm certainly not a good steward of the climate, of this whole thing. I do recycle. I recycle because I'm told, you get a pat on the back and an attaboy when you recycle. Now, my mom, big recycler back in the 70s. She kind of is into all this stuff, and she was always recycling, and they make it so easy. Okay, you got a container for this and a container for that. And then I often wonder, do they just dump all this stuff into one pile and it just goes in the garbage? That's what I always think about. One of our previous office complexes, we literally used to have 2 different containers. And at the end of the day, you would watch the garbage truck come. And because it was a commercial, it was years ago, and it was a commercial building, they just literally dump all the garbage and recycling into the same truck, and away they'd go. Maybe they filtered it out later. But so much of this stuff, I wonder how much of it they're just telling us, hey, this is good for the environment. And then if you really drill down to take a look at what's going on, you'd be like, yeah, that's not really a good alternative. It's an alternative, but it's not this great, wondrous plan that, we think it is. My other enormous issue with people who are just so into the environment is that they're also always activists for homelessness, for the unhoused. Now, we had a massive homeless encampment cleared out in Seattle. I've talked about it a few times. It's near I-5 and I-90, 2 pretty major roadway systems, freeways. And I drove by on Sunday and I was looking over, I wanted to see the progress. And there's a bunch of just construction equipment. And why do they need construction equipment after they clear out a homeless encampment? Well, because so much debris and crap is left strewn across the environment, including hypodermic needles, human poop. I mean, just the toxicity of these places is amazing. So we're going to all drive electric cars. Power grid's going to suffer. And yet we're going to allow people to just live willy-nilly wherever they want, just physically destroy the environment single-handedly. And we're all going to call it good. It's all good. It's okay. But, we're all good with this. All these things going back and forth. I am probably not as sympathetic to the environmental efforts as I should be. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm just not. It's not on my radar. I like to go out in the environment, but I think a lot of this stuff is truly just virtual signals, virtue signaling. It's virtue signaling. Yeah. All right. So go charge in your electric car. Go turn up your air conditioning. Enjoy it while it lasts, because we're told it's not. Go gas up your gas car. Have a great whatever it is that you want to do. Live life to the fullest. YOLO. All right. That's it for me. Thanks so much for being here. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.